must be our goal and our guide. And all that we strive for as a human family, dignity and hope, progress and prosperity, depends on peace. But peace depends on us.
Today, thousands and thousands of Africans and many countries in Africa have conflicts. Notably, from Libya, Cameroon, Nigeria, Biafra, and Boko Haram, to Democratic Republic of Congo, of where we have seen a resurgence of the past military and conflicts coming back in that country. Hundreds and hundreds of people have been displaced, killed, maimed, tortured, raped, several of them dying of hunger, starvation, and other natural causes. The fighting seems not to be ending. For the sake of Libya, the Libyan recognized international government is under siege in Tripoli from another faction recognized by Egypt, France, UAE, and other countries. Whereas the one in Tripoli is recognized by the UN, it has been bombarded, has been strangulated, and many millions of Libyans are dying of hunger, lack of water. The water system has been cut off. The bombardment goes on. In Democratic Republic of Congo, we've seen more of active rebel activities returning to the region after some silence has been observed. When we come to Cameroon, we see millions and millions of Amazonians slaughtered. Yet, when you come to Biafra, again millions and hundreds of millions and millions are worried, displaced, tortured by the Buhari regime. Yet again in the north, we see Boko Haram killing, maiming, abducting, and burning down villages in the same Nigeria. When you cross over to Central African Republic, the same is the history that has littered Africa. While all these events are taking shape, Africa is silent. Africa is not making enough efforts to find a solution to what is causing the problems in Libya, in DRC, in Cameroon, in Nigeria, Biafra, and now you add in Khartoum, Sudan. As people die, the people of Africa have no answers, have no solutions. There is nothing to endear to bring an end to the conflicts that have killed Africa. We seem to be new ones manufactured, old ones reignited, encouragement coming from external powers. One power that has been seen in the shadows of all these conflicts, especially the one of Libya that has escalated in the Sahara region of Africa, is France. When you come to Democratic Republic of Congo, the same country is in the shadows. The war can be seen is France. When you come to Cameroon, in Amazonia, the one behind that has the key to bringing peace is France. Therefore, our question as Africans, why are we silent? Why are we not saying enough is enough of the wars? Thank you.
We were way ahead of them in our civilization. They set out to destroy us. And Berlin Conference put the nail on that coffin. So they gave Djibouti the same sovereignty as the United States. They gave Burundi the same sovereignty as China. They gave Togo. You see, the EU realizes individual little countries, they can't survive on the world stage. So they come together as the European Union. Now picture this now. So they cut up this Africa into the tiny little countries, small economies that could never survive on their own, but gave them the same sovereignty as the big boys. So that way, when the little bitty countries go to the world stage for the purposes of development and discussing trade, they're wannabe boxers who are being thrown into the heavyweight boxing ring every day. How do you put China in the same boxing ring with Eswatini? Eswatini has 1.2 million people. China has 1.4 billion people. And you put them on the same stage and say, go at it, negotiate. Are you with me? Yes. This is insanity of the highest order. How have we allowed this carnage to go on? When Eswatini is thrown in the same boxing ring with China and Eswatini collapses before Eswatini even gets on the stage, the world says, well, Eswatini, what's wrong with you? Why can't you take care of your people? Well, China came in and said, Eswatini, give me all your gold or else. And if Eswatini does not agree, they just go on next door to Lesotho and give Lesotho an extra $1. And if Lesotho doesn't take it, they just jump on to Togo, Central African Republic. It was all by design. 1884. They did something else in addition to chopping us up. They also set out to make the African believe that everything African was bad and undesirable, and everything Western, particularly French and British, was more desirable. We call that the legacy of colonization. Prior to that, they had started long working on the slaves. Make them think everything about them, forget anything about Africa. Where you come from is a horrible place, diseased and dying people, constantly at war with themselves, uncivilized. Cut out any communications with them. You need to just know what we tell you. And we call that the legacy of slavery. So that's where you look at where we are today. 135 years later, a system that was put in place to see to it that Africa and her children are forever defeated, that Africa is forever exploited, remains in place today, alive and well. And we sit here and we ask ourselves, why isn't Africa moving forward? Why does Africa continue to be taken advantage of? Well, I'll tell you why, very simply. Until Africa comes together as a continent speaking with one voice, one continent, one people, nothing, and I repeat, nothing is gonna change. As individual little African countries, we are wannabe boxers. We will never make it fighting against the heavyweights. We must speak with one voice. Yeah. And this is exactly what our Pan-African leaders wanted to see happen in 1963 when they came together in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. They clearly stated that Africa for the Africans at home and abroad, and that African Union was now. They said Africa must speak with one voice. It is the only way for Africa to take its rightful place on the world stage. Sadly, when they went to Addis Ababa in 1963, they were divided. We had two factions, the Casablanca group and the Monrovia group. The Casablanca group were saying Africa for the Africans at home and abroad, and African Union now. This was Ghana, Guinea, Mali, Egypt, Morocco, Algeria, and Tunisia. Only 7. The other 25 of the 32 who attended were the Monrovia group. They were the nationalists. They said, let's go slow. Let's kind of wait on this Pan-African thing. 55 years later, 56 this year, we're still going slow. As if it wasn't bad enough that we were divided up into the tiny little countries that we are today. The gift that Berlin Conference gave us. One other thing that France did between 1958 and 1961 in the name of giving us our independence as African countries. France forced the Francophone, and I hate that terminology. There is no such thing as Francophone, Anglophone. They made it up. But for the purposes of communication, I will use that. 14 of those countries, they said, in order for you to get your independence from us, you must sign this document. You thought they could have found a better name for the document. The document was called the Pact for the Continuation. I repeat, the Pact for the Continuation of Colonization. We are talking about giving you independence, but sign this pact for the continuation of colonization in a different format. And I'm going to highlight some of those issues that they said you must agree to if you are going to be independent. Hello. Maybe we need to redefine the meaning of independence for the French. First, France said, you see, you monkeys, you don't know how to manage your money. We're going to demand that you deposit 85% of your bank reserves with the French Minister of Finance. Under the French Central Bank, under the control of the French Minister of Finance. France is then going to take your 85% bank deposits from each and every one of you. Deposit those funds in the French stock market under the French name. And you may or may not know the returns. Today, as we speak, the latest figures are saying for every 14 billion that France invests in the stock market from Africa, they are realizing upwards of 300 billion in return. Every year in, year out, because of these deposits from the African countries, France is taking out of Africa over $500 billion. Now figure it out. For every 14 billion, the returns on the investment are over 300 billion, and they are taking over 500 billion. So in actuality, France is taking out of Africa trillions of dollars year in and year out. From us poor people, Africans. Back to the pact. So should you want to access some of your money that you have deposited with France, you have to submit your country's financial returns. And if approved, you get to get it as a loan. You can only access up to 20% of your money year in, year out as a loan at commercial interest rates. Your own money. As if that was not enough. They said all your minerals discovered, yet to be discovered, all your oil discovered, yet to be discovered. France and French companies have the first right of refusal. If there's anything left over that the French companies do not want, your people might have. To this day. They said you will only use the currency that we created for you because you're special Africans. We call it the CFA. There was the Central African CFA and the Western African CFA, same animal. And that France is the only one that can print it for you. 1958. Fast forward. They're still printing it for us. And if you start misbehaving, they just stop printing your money. And your country's in trouble. They also said your language of instruction shall be French, whether you like it or not. That France will have military presence in your country. That your military can only be trained by France. That you can only buy military equipment from France. That you cannot have any military alliance with your neighbor. And that in the event of war, your allegiance is only to France. And furthermore, because they have military presence in your country, they can invade you without notice should they feel that the interests of France in your country are being violated.
Teach, sister, teach. Speak on, sister.
Fast forward, 2019, nothing has changed. The same people who have the audacity to tell us that we are poor countries, they are taking trillions out of Africa every year. And what is the African doing? Like an obedient, programmed black man, we just give in. We know the facts, but we just do nothing about it. Now, you have to say some of the fears are real, because if France that has sold you inferior equipment to theirs, France that has trained your military to be inferior to their military, they are now in your country. They can invade you. They have the permission to do so. They can destabilize you. And then one might say, why is it that African leaders haven't done anything about this deplorable situation? Well, let me tell you, my brother and sister, they have tried. Documented to this day, 22 coups where leaders were assassinated. France had something to do with it. The first 7, when they decided they were pulling out of the CFA and that they're going to print their own money, they were assassinated. Every time an African leader has tried to do what's best for their country, they were assassinated. Majority of them aided by France. It's a known fact. And then others, they were just mercenaries who felt that when there was a natural resource discovered in one country, they wanted to create a coup. So while the country is thrown into a civil war, they're siphoning the natural resource. We know of one particular story that had we not known about it, it would have been, oh, there we go again, the Africans. In about 25 years ago, a group of young, rich white kids were having fun in Cape Town. They found out that there was oil in Equatorial Guinea that just been discovered, and they wanted it. So they set out a plan to have a coup in Equatorial Guinea. So while the Guineans are busy fighting a civil war, they will be siphoning the oil. But they made one mistake. There were 2 planes. One was to leave South Africa, stop in Zimbabwe, pick up more ammunition on their way to hunt in Equatorial Guinea. Another plane was taking off in the Caribbean that had this puppet diaspora who was supposed to be the next president. Mugabe wondered why such young people needed such powerful ammunition to go hunt in Equatorial Guinea. In doing his research further, he found out that this was a coup in the making. He allowed them to land in Zimbabwe. They loaded their plane, and just before takeoff, they were all arrested. The ringleader of that group was none other than the son of the former Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, Margaret Thatcher. She had to fly to Zimbabwe and paid handsomely to get her son out. The last one of those prisoners left Zimbabwe about 6-7 years ago. Had these young people succeeded, it would have been another coup. There you go, the Africans again. Such my brothers and sisters, is the story of your Africa. They don't do coups anymore. They simply create instability. So when you hear of an instability in an African country, ask yourself, what is really going on? Because what they are telling you is really going on is just a shiny object. The real issue is over here. And you need to stop before you start being used as an instrument of your own self-destruction.
First of all, let me thank you. I've prepared 2 papers which I believe will be circulated because they'll not be projected. But if you can see, first of all, I want to agree with the Honorable Minister. I've done 2 pictorials. One of them is described as Africa at the dinner table. And if you look at Africa at the dinner table, Africa is on a plate and it is meat. And the diners at the dinner table are France, the United Kingdom, the United States, the European Union, the Chinese, and progressively the Arabs. And my second picture is the African hotspots. It's not visible from there. But if you look at Africa today and you make a clean sweep with your mind, there are different conflicts of different intensity in Somalia, in northern Mauritania, in northern Mali, in Central African Republic, Democratic Republic of Congo, Guinea-Bissau, in the Cameroons, in South Sudan, and one can go on and on. And there is a sense in which Africa has always been alive to the question of interference. I will refer this audience, particularly those who are starting, to take time and read the 32 odd speeches that were made in the month of May 1963 by the then heads of states and government of independent African states, the 32 of them. And there are 2 speeches that I want to isolate for this presentation. One was by David Dacko of Central African Republic. And in thanking Emperor Haile Selassie and Kwame Nkrumah on that day, he said that we must never forget that the colonial power has not left us. We must recognize that he did not go willingly. And if we don't check them, they'll come back again. And what would little Central African Republic do against them? Today, he is right. Today, if we remember the activities of France and how they have propped up the regime of Jean-Bedel Bokassa, he was right. Today, as the Honorable Minister has indicated, Africa remains the only continent in the world that is referred to in these terms, Anglophone, to mean that we are a sphere of our erstwhile colonizers. About 2 weeks ago, there was a meeting of the Commonwealth in London, England, and a friend of mine who is an Anglophile sent me the photographs very gleefully, saying this is a meeting of 53 equal states. I told him, no. If it were so, why is it that the leadership of the Commonwealth is hereditary rather than rotational? In other words, in the minds of the British, her former colonies are still under her tutelage. And I want to submit to us that in the minds of what I'll call the conceptual West, they think they have a divine duty to instruct Africans what to do. True. And in the minds of many African leaders, they think that they have a divine duty to accept what they are told. That, in my view, is what the Honorable Minister was talking about, the mindset. And this is something that has been examined. We have seen France and its very pernicious presence in Africa. We know what they did in Burkina Faso against Thomas Sankara. We know what they did in Mali or the Sudan against Modibo Keita or against Sekou Touré in Guinea. Pernicious to the core. The Portuguese, we know what battles had to be fought in that area. And let me put this very bluntly. When the former leader of Portugal, Marcelo Caetano, was asked, why can you not allow the colonies to gain independence? This is what he said in substance. As I have examined world history over the years, the following have emerged: that the Caucasians have been responsible for monumental discoveries in the development of man. So have the Chinese, so have the Arabs. But the Africans have been responsible for nothing. They are only fit as hewers of wood and drawers of water. And I want to submit to you who are present here that in the conceptual West's unguarded moments, or guarded moments, that is what they think. And that is how they relate to Africa. So the whole idea that they will interfere is something that they think is their God-given duty. I said there were two speeches in 1963 that I wanted to refer to. I referred to David Dako. The second one was the speech by Kwame Nkrumah. And Kwame provided the solution. He did not complain about colonialism. He said, we must live here with one army, with one command. We must live here with one currency. We must live here with one currency, one country. I do not know where its capital will be, but I suggest Leopoldville or Bangui. Other leaders may have their thoughts. Kwame was right, but who listened to him? Several years down the line, and I've said it in my paper, there were coup d'etats which were engineered, there were mutinies which were engineered, and other forms of destabilization. And I want to believe that the person who actually said it very well in the 1980s was the former American President Ronald Reagan. He said, the United States of America does what is in her best interest. And I agree with him. Does Africa do what is in her best interest? Do African leaders do what is in the best interest of Africa? Interference will be there in very blatant and brazen ways and in subtle ways. I've always asked, until very recently, how many African countries manufactured bullets? Very few. Until very recently, how many African countries, in fact, how many African countries manufacture jet fighters? How many African countries are involved in the arms industry? Some of the leading conceptual West countries which pontificate to us about prizes, peace prizes, are the leading manufacturers of landmines. And if you look at their foreign exchange earners, it is the military and security items. So they say with their mouths, what do they not believe in their hearts? In Kiswahili we say, vita vya panzi furaha ya kunguru. That when the locusts are fighting, it is the joy of the hawk. Because when they kill each other, they get the food easily, dead. It is in the best interest, I dare submit, without fear of contradiction, that the elite in the conceptual West does not want Africa to stabilize, despite their assertion to the contrary. And you'll see it in every country because conflict is a major industry. Today, you look at South Sudan and the many peace conferences that are being held. But if you ask who supplies the arms, who provides safe havens, it is the conceptual West. And when I use the term conceptual West, I'm saying that it extends to countries which are geographically not in the West, like Australia or Canada. So I'm submitting in answer to your question, Joe, that interference is there, and it is part, to use this old cliche, of the neo-colonial project. The neo-colonial project requires that Africa must remain within the sphere of influence of these states. Today, if you look at the United Kingdom, which has left Europe, one would have thought that those are their cousins and that they should sit in comfort with them. You will now see their involvement being de-emphasized in Europe and their interest and appetite growing towards the Commonwealth. Because in the Commonwealth, they are the major domos. They'll tell us what to do. In Europe, they have to grapple with the Germans and the French, and they don't like it. That is the unspoken bit of it. The French also are in Europe, but the Germans are too strong, and they don't like it. So they want to hold Côte d'Ivoire, Gabon, and tell them what to do. I do not know how many of you saw the press conference that was attended by President Macron of France and Nana Addo of Ghana. And when Nana Addo spoke as an African should, you could see the body language of the French president. How dare this man speak this way? In other words, I'm saying that interference is the mother's milk of European economies. But to answer your second question, they have their own recruits who Professor Philip Nying'ura will be speaking here. To use the old vocabulary of those days, they are the people you call their comprador de bourgeoisie. You must remember. The comprador de bourgeoisie are Africans with black faces, but essentially they are doing the bidding of these powers. They are the ones you'll find them in different spheres. And they will be present, they are in your cabinet, but they are actually representatives of the foreign intelligence agencies of those countries. We know this. If you look at the declassified papers from the United States, we now know that some of leading cabinet ministers in many African countries were working for the CIA or some.
Good afternoon, viewers. Welcome to Punchline Africa TV, broadcasting all the way from Nairobi, the Republic of Kenya. This is a show, the only show south of Sahara that talks about in the sub-Saharan region, that discusses Africa, that brings specific topics on Africa. The only show south of Sahara, the only television station that cares about Africa, that looks at African issues, problems. What ails Africa? What kills Africa? You have seen PLO Lumumba crying the same way. The only show, we bring his shows to show to Africans that we are determined to change the destiny, the course of our difficulties. The difficulties that Africa has will be changed. And believe me or not, time will tell. We are not going to give up. We shall not surrender. We shall push on and push until we reach that Rubicon, cross it until we reach Canaan. Those are the words that of the theme of the Kenyan BBI, anxiety. With me in the studio today to bring this good topic after you have gone to church and prayed to Jesus And told Jesus, forgive those who trespass us, as we also forgive, forgive us. I don't know. I wanted to be a preacher. Had I become one, I would have sensed the urgency of Africa being a united continent, a continent that can deliver our countries to a destiny which God created us for. Thank you very much, viewers. First, let me come back and introduce my co-host, Miriam Haberi. Not Miriam. Oh, I'm thinking of my daughter, Miriam Ogutu.
You just spoke to your daughter.
I have increased. Oh no, I'm thinking of my daughter this morning.
It's okay.
Miriam Matsanga, thank you very much, my daughter, wherever you were. God bless you, but you have another Miriam Ogutu in the studios right now in Nairobi. Those on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram, on YouTube, enjoy. Talk to us. We have various topics. Kenya, anxiety over BBI. Let me simplify for you in a nutshell. BBI is a redemption strategy. Probably President Uhuru Kenyatta tomorrow or the other day should read. You know, when you say BBI, people might begin, you have created your own words. But BBI is a redemption strategy. Kenyatta wants to leave a legacy. You can go to the moon and hang yourself, but he will leave it. He's going to leave that legacy of a united Kenya. BBI is not political office. No. If 10 years ago, you were opposing the Constitution, if 10 years ago you said the Constitution of Republic of Kenya had some bad elements, if 10 years ago you said you are not in for a yes, you are in for a no, tell me, my brother, Dr. William Ruto, what has changed? What has it changed for us to talk and write pages and pages in the legacy for you to see the sunshine? I'm coming on now. The sunshine direction. A redemption strategy. Matsanga sang it for 6 years. After the collapse of the ICC cases in Kenya, I sang a redemption strategy. Kenya needed a redemption strategy. You can go, you can earn your money, you can have your millions, you can have billions. You need a redemption strategy. There's nowhere else that a developed country like Britain didn't do a redemption strategy after the Second World War. Tell me what books you read and I challenge you. Where? Which country didn't do a redemption strategy? Germany. America, after the Marshall War, the Marshall Plan of Europe, a redemption strategy. Tell me, all European countries readjusted themselves after the quarrel. Kenya has been quarreling since 1992. Kenya has been quarreling every 5 years election cycle. You have a quarrel every day. You don't want to sort it out. You want to continue quarreling. You want to leave elections to be something that divides people. There's need for a redemption strategy. The entire Africa needs it. Kenya needs it. Uganda needs it. That's why Museveni is facing an uphill task. He's facing an uphill task. If he doesn't listen to me,
he should reach out. You think it's time he should reach out?
Yes. Reach out to the opposition. Create a redemption strategy that I created in northern Uganda, Mr. President. It is me who created the redemption strategy in northern Uganda. That's why you are able to get more votes in northern Uganda than they are in Bunyankole. Get it today.
Nkurunziza also tried his own redemption strategy.
Yes,
but it's not
get
working
it.
very well.
Museveni should not tell us. President Museveni should go for a redemption strategy. The one I did in northern Uganda. The forgiveness of Konyi and his murderous gangs that roamed, killed people, has created peace for our country. Tell me that you talk about what? There was no military that could have won a war in northern Uganda. It is this mouth and others that defeated the guns. They silenced them. We crossed over in Garamba Park. We got Kony and put him on table. We said we need peace. Today, Your Excellency President Museveni, there is peace in northern Uganda. It's not because of you. It's because of the sacrifice of the people like us, Ruakana Rugunda, and several other people, including your support. Because at the beginning, you did not want to go for these negotiations. You thought Kony was a joker. I told you, no, when Matsanga comes in, Kony doesn't joke with another powerful person. He jokes with you because you have been fighting him. But me, I'm not fighting him. I'm going to tell him it has to be here. And here now, we got that peace. That peace came in northern Uganda. People sleep. They can have poverty. I'm not a government. But they will not have a war again. They will not have a war again. My country will not have a war. It can have a deficit of political democracy, of having one man, one vote, which is not existing in Africa. It does exist by paper. Because in Africa, there is no election that is credible. Show me one. The only one is
South Africa.
Closer is South Africa.
Closer.
But it's closer to credibility. That's why you see the members of parliament of Democratic Alliance resigning in en masse.
Since
the black ban going out because there is no democracy. You see the problem of Africa.
The trophy black people who are part of it.
The problem of Africa is that they thought that the Plato Republic, Socrates, they told them that this is how to conduct democracy. Plato Republic does not tell you have elections. Plato Republic tells you of the norm of democracy. Democracy. But it doesn't tell you have elections every 5 years. Show me. Unless I read a different book. But the one of Plato Republic, go and show me where it said have elections in 5 years. Every 5 years you spend billions of shillings and billions of dollars, billions of naira, that you are electing a Buhari, a tall standing murderer, destroying Nigeria, that you are electing people who are destroying Biafrans, that you are electing Paul Biya, who is killing Amazonians. Tell me that you are electing people who have kept Central African Republic in constant fear. Show me. Show me a redemption strategy. Therefore, Kenya needs to take a step forward. Kenya needs the BBI. Maybe the word BBI, which has been transformed into stupidity by some malcontent who believe that it's called Beba something. No, BBI, Mr. President, is a redemption strategy. What President Uhuru Kenyatta is creating here is a redemption strategy. Go to the moon, come back, go to Mars, come back, is called redemption strategy. One, what is redemption strategy? Before I bring in Miriam, healing is the last word. But you need accountability in your elections. You need to change your elections. You need to change your mode of your elections. You need to change the mechanisms of your election. If Kenya does not change the type of elections they conduct, they will have wars. The city mortuary will expand. the morticians will be called every night to go and cut post-mortem. If Kenya does not look at unity or purpose, reconcile, that's a redemption strategy. I'm talking one by one. Accountability. Accountability is part of a redemption strategy. Why should we have a country with corrupt individuals? What do we do with too many corrupt individuals than individuals that God created? You see, God has created all of us, but there are some who have become too corrupt for the state, even for the eyes of God. We need to change that format and go and have a state that is accountable. Number 3, restitution. You need to restitute a state, the people, the minds of people. Kenyans are angry at each other, at themselves. Kenya is angry with itself. How many of you can leave a phone and find it? How many of you can leave a wallet and find it? Show me that you are on a bus and you stand up for the elderly woman in Makueni who wants to sit on the seat. Hallelujah. Show me that you are on a bus, a matatu. You stand up for the disabled. Show me. Show me. Tell me that you can call Miriam and tell her, Miriam, I found your wallet with 400,000 shillings in it and I did not open it. Show me. Kenya needs that. We need to change the way things happen here. We have some of us who are talking to you have seen it worse in some places. Some of us are refugees like me because people did not listen to redemption strategy. They went to northern Uganda and placed and cut every black man who was seen and found standing with arrow bullets. We killed our own country. We realized later on, President Museveni realized later on we had killed his country. We came back, sat down, changed the course of our country. I speak with authority and experience because I've been there, I've seen it. I know what it means to be a refugee. I know. You are belittled, you are trodden upon. Even your ideas are trodden upon, yet they are the best. And they hate them during daytime, but they use them during night. I'm telling you today, Miriam might be wondering why I'm talking like this. A vision arrived. I told Mugabe in African Union in Addis Ababa. When I went to his hotel, I told him, His Excellency President Mugabe, please, can we have a transition? He called me. I am the only human living person today who was going to be killed by extremists in London. Not terrorists, extremists who wanted to kill me because I supported Mugabe. I'm here. I'm the only, go and check the London Telegraph, the Daily Telegraph, the Guardian, the People's newspaper. You will see my picture in front page. 80 million people reading you, saying bad news, Mugabe's mouthpiece is here. That's the headline. This is me. They wanted to finish me. I want to thank Her Majesty, the Scotland Yard police, who protected me for 5 years, and I'm still alive. But when I went to Mugabe to tell Mugabe that let's have a transition, He asked me, what transition? I said, Mzee, you are going. Let's have a transition in Africa in order to keep the pace of removing sanctions. Because I'm the only living soul again. And let the people know, I went to the European Court of Justice, removed sanctions from Zimbabwe. My applications are on record. You can go there. The courts in Europe don't destroy records. You will find it. I am again the only person who stood and told Mugabe, can we make a transition? He started hating me. Why? The woman called Amai Mugabe. When Mugabe went back to the bedroom and told the wife that they have talked about the transition, Jesus Christ, Amai Mugabe Grace picked the word and said, transition. Transition. And she became a transit goods. She started knocking Mujuru out. She turned on Emerson Mnangagwa, my friend. Yet we are trying to say, we had said, why this old man is falling every step where he goes for the conferences. We needed a transition. Fellow Africans, there you are. What has befallen Zimbabwe today, we shall discuss. But all this comes to one small thing. All this come to BBI, redemption strategy, anxiety. Ruto now says, turn back. Where were you going? Where were you going? I don't want to speak like Atoli, but I am worse than Atoli. The difference between us and Atoli is that I went to school beyond Atoli. So I have both. And the one thing that cuts me is not to be a Kenyan. But had I been, we would run with this guy. Where were you going? Ulikuwa unaenda wapi? The president says, BBI, you say you don't know it. You are in government. Then you do a bow turn. Now, a bow turn to where? From Damascus to Jerusalem? You can't rule a country that is fractured. His Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta is just giving you the road to Jerusalem. Don't say you are turning back. Turn where? What will you do? This small population here, the whole of these people, all these people who are taking the money, I swear, they are going to say, they see, I don't know what BBI will bring, what report they have. But I believe one of the reports, as a man who studied conflict resolution, as a man who said it 7 years, if they don't have anything to change with elections, I don't also want to make a decision. They must talk. The BBI must talk about elections in Kenya. They must talk about it.
It is the source of all the
chaos. It is the source of our problems. It is a source. You see now, all these MPs lining up in the press conference is election. Is election. All this DP was running around, helicopter I was worried, I'm a worried man. Helicopter here, helicopter, is election. So time has come for people to talk about it, to silence it once for all, Miriam. Let this thing of election be tamed. In fact, one of the things that, if I were the president, this Mr. Chebukati should dissolve quickly. Under this recommendation, Chebukati should go. He's the source of the problems that we have. He's the source of the Kenya's troubles. Therefore, BBI, reconciliation, restitution, reparations, truth-telling, accountability, those are the words which form what we call a redemption strategy. The final word after this, accrued rent of hatred. Kenya has been accruing rent, heaping hate over hate since 1992. I remember the refugees that came into London, everybody crying. I remember the type of people, Kenyans, who flocked into my office in London, seeking how to apply and make presentation to Home Office. Many of you that have helped, many of you Somalis that have helped, I want to take this opportunity to thank you that today you have seen what I was telling you. Because you found me a refugee, you used to laugh at me as a Mkimbizi, but you followed me. You can see what life is. From 1992, the influx of Kenyans into London shot higher. The influx of Somalis. That's why I've told you I have 96 friends, Somali friends, MPs. So I almost control Faramijo government. By say, they have those British passports because of me. My English was filling those passports.
I don't think Famajo will be very happy with that.
He better not, because whether he's happy or not, he's gonna be done, baby. Already the Minister of Finance has a warrant. The Commissioner of Police has a warrant. I'm coming on Somalia. Let me spare it for you. Good news coming. Mr. Farmajo, you don't call me kafir and I keep quiet. I'm a bad boy. Watch my lips and watch my eyes. Let me remove the glasses so that you know I am a bad boy. On international scene, Farmajo, I am a bad boy. Soon you will not have no police commissioner. You will not have no minister of finance. Bad boy. Just don't make me get more angrier. Yes. So, coming back, when you see a BBI in Kenya, I want to finish this subject. I want to thank President Uhuru Kenyatta. I want to thank him so much. And His Excellency, President Uhuru Kenyatta, the right honorable former Prime Minister, you made a move for Africa. You have done the best once you get this document. Go ye, give it to Kenyans to read and agree on what is the best. And form ye what is called a national convention. In this national convention, ye discuss the destiny of the people of Kenya. They yearn for it. They need it. Your Excellency, you would have left a legacy. God bless you. God bless Kenya. Since another question is on BBI, Miriam, I'm ready.
Yes, I think on the Standard newspaper today, on Sunday Standard, it says the headline there is the BBI, Ruto's about turn, and it continues to say Ruto's allies appear to soften their headline stance against the Building Bridges initiative and intimate that they might be willing to conditionally embrace the team's report. Are you surprised by this, what the Sunday Standard is terming as a turnaround by DP Ruto and his camp?
I am not surprised because they are reactionaries. Reactionary. I'll use the best words because I'm a revolutionary. I don't take prisoners who have lazy minds. Neither do I have room. This studio is too small for adolescence. Adolescence. Yes, when you look at Malcolm, what did you read first when he starts opening his mouth to laugh? Adolescence. That's it. You don't read at Malcolm as a leader of majority of Senate. You look at childish. Eh? Here is a president of a country who is your leader of the party. He's the one going to give you the sword. Just Just imagine this. You can't be equal with him. No. You can't be equal with Uhuru Kenyatta. Ruto can walk up to the moon, but he will not be equal with Uhuru Kenyatta. At times he's told to please him. Me is my friend. I have no problem with him. I went to that Hague to struggle to get him out of the claws of the same mechanism that they had wanted him fixed. So I am talking with a share. I'm a shareholder. I lost my job because of him. I have a right to talk about it. I might not be a Kenyan, but I have a right. And above all, he's younger than me. Therefore, when I speak with wisdom, jamen. Msifikiri hata kama sina pesa, lakini niko na wisdom. So I tell you the truth. You can't outshine your master. This about turn was necessary. If you are going to Damascus, we go to Jerusalem. Hallelujah. Just change the course. And the President Uhuru Kenyatta, in Jerusalem, Jesus did not enter with any disciple. Go and ask Bishop Kuria, who is the Catholic bishop. Ask him. Njue. Bishop Njue will tell you Jesus did not enter the temple of God with any disciple. Your Excellency, offload this baggage. Once you get the BBI report, offload them. I'm a political scientist. What will you do? I can practice politics anywhere in the world. I can be taken to any university and I will talk. I will not be looking for, hey, what did the Karl Marx say here? I will say it. Your Excellency, offload. Offload the baggage. Jesus did not enter the Jerusalem temple with a baggage. Don't go with baggage like a kienjure. He's a baggage. Let him go and practice whatever he is. He's doing it because he has state powers. Throw him in under the bus. You give him a ministry, he brings maize. He makes your name bad. Poisons your name. The same. He sat 5 hours in Sarova Hotel in a corner with Chioni. They were plotting to destabilize the BBI. I have photos which I took. So next time when you see me run, Atwori is my friend. You don't know how the photos were taken, so be careful. Next time, Mr. President, offload the baggage. How long shall we go on sustain? I get a lot of insults because I write very good things about my Pan-African brother. They call me Mr. Big Fat Hippo, what? All these names. Thank you. But remember my words. BBI redemption strategy will change the course of violence in this country. 2, remove the baggage. All ministries are dead except Matianga works. The rest, everybody. You know, if I were the president, this is the time. Offload. You have 2 years left. You can leave a legacy of unity of purpose. You can't leave a legacy with a minister who allows the ferry to kill people when the stopper could be repaired for $2 million. How? How? There you are. You allow a minister who says there is no money lost in agriculture. No money was lost. But, but when the farmers in Eldoret, the Senate, they cried, the money is lost. We have our maize, we paid for loans in the bank. You said more money lost when a farmer has a loan to pay for his maize, and you have brought maize from Uganda produce board, in Tororo, in wagons, reference number which Matanga has. I know who brought that maize. I know. Even I know the Ugandan who did the deal. The only thing is that because we want a united Kenya and we respect President Uhuru Kenyatta, we keep quiet. But don't think we don't know. You can pose around and tell people you have the money, but we know. We know the people who brought the money. I know, at least me. Instead of planting people to say, go and see what Matanga does every day, talk to me. I'm an open man. When I was going to The Hague, nobody knew who paid for my going to The Hague. Who paid? Who paid? Refund me, and I go. Who paid? 68. Rule 68. If I had not been in the hall, it would have sentenced Ruto. I had to fight Gladio Lertieno, tear her t-shirts. I was taken to the police. The Hague police arrested me because they said I had touched a woman. I said I did not touch the breast. In Rule 68, and the same Ruto had told him, people that Matanga should not go there. Ngunjiri should go instead. Ngunjiri had no ID to enter the hall. Useless. He stayed outside. Money. They want money, money. They couldn't do anything in the hall. I did change. Even the chairman, the president of the conference said, delegates, that gentleman is correct. Whoever has these t-shirts, remove them, get out. I wonder there. Rule 68 collapsed under my banner, not Karim. What Karim can do? It's theatrics. If you don't, anybody who teaches international relations will tell you that you cannot win an international conflict without activism. Somali case, some people in the ministry, in these ministries where they Google money, they Google money. Is it Googling go? Wanakula pesa za mzee za inchi. I just went for bed and breakfast. Four nights. I'm going to go for the last one. And you can see the lawyer is running out. I met her when I was coming out of the Old Bailey. When I'd gone to the Old Bailey.
Can you put that into context for us? The lawyer who is representing
Somalia.
In
Yes.
the Hague case.
We she knows. She calls me uncle. She's left. I told her you have a problem. How do you represent mercenary like Hassan Harye? This is a murderer. Hassan Harye has a long case. I'm looking for him. The day I'm going to land that small prime minister, that shocked small prime minister in court, like I've done on the minister of finance. Somali minister of finance has a problem. This is a mafia. It's a mafia cabinet of Faramijo. He better go slowly. What annoyed me is Faramijo to call me kafiri. Let the kafiri teach you a lesson. I'm going to finish them one by one, small, until they get out. By law, and using data. I'm not going to use anything. I don't have guns. I don't have bombs. I'll use data. They can have guns which they give to some states. Faremajo supplies guns to some states to kill people, to cause insurgents, and then say Kenya is causing insurgents. You supply guns to destroy mosques, then you say Kenya is causing insurgents. Gonna finish you on data, man. It is sort of state you even surrendered your American passport. You might not go there again. You might not get it. Wagwan. Let's go.
You're already in Somalia already?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm already in Somalia. I want to take this opportunity to thank Mama Muma. Thank you very much. You listened to my words. You left this caliphate, a caliphate of thieves that have taken this case to the ICJ to cover themselves. Mama Muma, you are great. You have played great. You have done the best thing that Africa needs. The stand you have taken is the best stand. Somalia is a state of mafia. Ask me. Ask me, let's take a pause because my studio people don't watch. I've lost my glasses. Nobody can come to pick my glasses. They're all, I don't know. I've lost my glasses.
They're enjoying the show.
Yes, you're enjoying the show.
Fixated, yes.
Let me get my glasses. They are here. Let's take it seriously, slowly, step by step. Somalia is a state of mafiadom. Mr. Hassan Harye is the man behind all this that Kenya is having with Somalia. I met this lady when I was coming out of the Old Bailey. Old Bailey is a state, is a court in London. The High Court. I'd gone there in the High Court to seek a review. Somehow, somebody told them that this guy is going to bring problems. All right? Somebody told her. So she also she was trying to find out what exactly they want to do about this Somali case. And what I did was to give her a lecture over coffee. The best thing is for you. How do you represent? This is what has happened. This is the money. This is what Soma gas, Soma oil and the gas holdings. They got 50 million pounds over the oil. They sold oil when Somalia was under sanctions. They did not have oil and they did not have the mandate to transact any business once there are sanctions on Somalia. Anybody who transacts any business when Somalia is still under armed trade sanctions because of terrorist activities violates the United Nations law.
Embargo, yes.
The woman said, what? I said, yes, you're a lawyer. You studied international law. Look at the sections. Look at the sections that will catch you. You are going to lose your credibility. She didn't. She left there. How many weeks passed? 3 weeks. She's gone.
So was she the lead lawyer for
yes.
the Somali government?
The only lawyer. Can the production team bring that Somali conflict ICJ? You'll see the lawyer standing to speak. That's Muma. My best friend, younger girl. Somalia is a state of mafia. It is a state where people sit down and the president blocks other people from traveling to other parts of Somalia and wants them to fly with his instructions. So what state is this? Somalia has Al-Shabaab. Al-Shabaab is a terrorist group whose origins, now I will tell you, frankly, are in Eritrea. And I want to tell this world to listen to me. America, what you are doing in Afghanistan, don't do it with Al-Shabaab. There are peaceful talks taking place.
With Taliban?
Yes, with Al-Shabaab. I'll tell you why.
But they killed Al-Qaeda leader today. We woke up to that news today.
Very good. If that is the killing of Al-Qaeda in Afghanistan, where?
He was killed in Syria. He's been hiding.
Yes.
Who took over after Osama?
Yes. Zawahiri. Zawahiri is the leader. Zawahiri was second to Osama bin Laden. And Zawahiri is Egyptian. Can it shock you? That the second Al-Qaeda man is the head of the Muslim Brotherhood. Talk to me. So, what America has done, it failed to proscribe Al-Qaeda, Al-Shabaab. Why? As an African, I would like, who has people walking with limbs from these bombs we have seen here, who have lost children, who have lost Ugandans, who are dying in Mogadishu on a daily basis because they are pacifying Somalia. Why has America refused to proscribe? Because of Norway. These two countries and the three countries, France, I will never leave them. You know, don't people in Africa are naive. Don't ever talk of Qatar without looking at oil, Total oil. Qatar has no means to drill even 1 pint of oil.
The rich Qatar?
Yeah. It's Total oil that drills. Mama. It's Total oil. So when Qatar oil comes to buy Kenyan gas at Lamu, it is not Qatar. Those who sold that gas, watch your lips. You have brought an enemy too close, yet the enemy at night tells Somalia to continue with a fight in ICJ. You hear me? That's the life we have. That's the life we have. That is the life going on in Somalia. A state failed with a failed president, an American president, a man who never told them he was American, then a Norwegian prime minister, a man who still has a Norwegian passport and holding prime ministership of Somalia. So we have aliens who are running a state called Somalia. And we have, you think about that. We have aliens running Somali, destroying Somalia. They don't care. They don't care whether Somalia quarrels with Kenya. Yet we have lived with Somalis. Yet some of us, our girlfriends are Somalis, our wives are Somalis, our sisters are Somalis. Am I wrong? They want us to go and fight. These are aliens. Hassan Harie is a Norwegian. He has not declared, he had not renounced his Norwegian citizenship. How can Hassan Harie be a prime minister of normal Somali people? Gulud Hassan, if you think about it, this man is working for the interests of Norwegians. But there is something wrong. It's something soon that we are going to discover. And believe me or not, the world will clap for me. Let's move on.
Let's just move on.
Ask any question on Somalia.
So perhaps our viewers would want to know, because we've not talked about it in a while now, what is the state of the Kenya-Somalia case that is at the ICJ? Is it set to start at the date that it was supposed to in November? Or things have changed?
It changed to June.
Next year?
Yes. I did a great job. When I left for London to meet officials of the court, I was very confident because they asked me. I've made complaints about the judge, that Somali man, the butcher that Kenya was delivering documents to. How can Kenya, Attorney General, deliver documents to a butcher to cut Kenya? Don't you stop and say, hey, excuse me, are you not the one who cut our cow the other time? You cut it wrongly. So people were filing documents to a man who comes, makes decisions, changes everything. When I came in with my 6 points, 6 good complaints, I have not released the last one, where Judge Abdalaki Yusuf committed a very serious offense in Brussels, in the house where he always goes. Where he always goes on Friday. A very serious offense that as an African, I would rather leave it because...
On Fridays, I would expect he's going to prayers, no?
Okay, after prayers,
okay,
he's always in Brussels. He committed a very serious offense in Brussels. For us, our organization, when we want to look for you, we get you. We don't have any weapons. We have our network. And that network, Mr. Abdalaki Yusuf, has some tapes and a video that you wouldn't like your children to see. So let's leave it. That's all I can tell you.
All right. So
yes, thank you.
Let's just leave that.
Very bad videos.
Before we throw this.
No, very, very bad. And a crime which has not been reported to Belgian government. Mm-hmm. So do we report it? Cross my path, I cross yours. That Buhari there, cross my path. Let's go.
Before we get to Buhari, can we just look at what was happening on Friday? And Zimbabwe's government made Friday a public holiday and provided buses for anti-sanctions marches. President Emmerson Mnangagwa reportedly told crowds that the sanctions are neither smart or targeted. Their impact on the daily lives of Zimbabweans is immeasurable and consequences are dire. So on Friday, it was apparently a national holiday there in Zimbabwe, and that was supposed to be a protesting day against the heavy sanctions that Zimbabwe is suffering from.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. Your Excellency Emmerson Mnangagwa, my brother that I have known for 20 years. I've known you longer than you have known Museveni. I learned you came to Uganda. I saw your pictures. It's very good for you. It's for the government of Uganda and Zimbabwe to do their PR. Okay? I've known you longer than he knows you, because today he will pretend that he knows you. I just want to tell you, Mr. President, the worst thing that can happen is for you not to seize this opportunity to take a step forward and reach out to this small man, small voiced boy, that boy called Chamisa.
Handshake.
Get Chamisa on table. Chamisa is a small boy still learning how to do a filing cabinet. Let Chamisa go and do IT in African Union. Teach people in Somalia. In fact, he can go to Mogadishu. He can go to Rwanda. He can go everywhere. Let's get Chamisa moving. Let Chamisa officer start doing something.
You think he has too much time in his hands?
The problem of Zimbabwe, and I want to speak here, whoever is in Zimbabwe can listen, is the American ambassador in Zimbabwe. The American ambassador in Zimbabwe and the French Open Society Foundation of South Africa offices, where the South African Litigation Council or Center sends in money to regime change Zimbabwe. The biggest problem with Zimbabwe again is the failure by Zimbabwe internal and external intelligence to detect the George Soros mechanisms that have surrounded the entire cabinet, the entire presidency, the entire parties that is fomenting chaos for Zimbabwe. Another problem for Zimbabwe is the failure to raise up these issues of regime change with the men who are concerned. The American CIA branch of George Soros launders money. But George Soros has never been taken to court. Have you asked why George Soros pays people money to overthrow governments, but he is never in court? Because he works for one branch of the Central Intelligence Agency. George Soros, if you reach New York, George Soros' building is just next to Trump. Very close to each other, almost. They look at each other every morning. While Trump is fighting to get data from Ukraine, George Soros is busy overthrowing governments in Hong Kong. Zimbabwe must wake up to the reality. And the President Mnangagwa must wake up to the reality. And if you don't do it, Elder, we might meet in exile. Because they have surrounded him. First, they have made the intelligence system of Zimbabwe not workable, compromised it. Those who are former Mugabe apologists are within the intelligence system. Those who are recruited in Addis Ababa are heading the system. You remember the report I wrote about infiltration by the French in the African Union, the 4 reports. You think there was no African intelligence in Ethiopia? There's a headquarters of African intelligence in Ethiopia. Who was heading it? I leave you to guess and study. If these are French, they have paid the people. They have infiltrated the systems of Zimbabwe. Sanctions kill, whether smart, whether ugly sanctions, whether economic sanctions or whatever it is, they kill people. Because those officers are supposed to go and look for work on behalf of the people. I wholly and fully condemn sanctions against Zimbabwe.
And while those protests were taking place on Friday, Doctor, it is interesting to note that the United States, which of course imposed those sanctions on Zimbabwe state, they actually they announced more sanctions on Friday over Zimbabwe State Security Minister, Mr. Owen Ncube. That was on Friday while these protests are taking place. So,
and do you know what?
Mm-hmm. What was
you
the
know
message?
why? Mm-hmm. Do you know who is making Ncube to be sanctioned? It's the intelligence system of the same Zimbabwe. Why haven't they? If you think I'm wrong, why haven't they sanctioned the director of intelligence of Zimbabwe? Answer me, Zimbabweans.
They sanctioned the Matiangi of Zimbabwe. The security.
You sanction the Matiangi of Zimbabwe and leave. So there must be, it is like a Uganda.
So what message was
Mama, you have touched. It's like a Uganda. They have now gone, they have put 2,000 Ugandans on sanction list. Who is preparing this list? Who? There must be a mole within the UPDF, within Museveni's NRM government itself, preparing a list to submit to the Americans to eat the people they don't want. The Ugandan mafia system prepared the list, delivered it to Americans, so that they do away with some people they don't want, and then control the state. Shake my hand. My sister, we shall always be here together with you. I will tell you if these things don't happen at the way I'm saying. And Uganda, if Uganda is not careful, if the president does not wake up, if Museveni does not bring in international activism, he has 2,000 people on sanction list. They will cripple the government. They will cripple the services. European Union is about to follow. And the people are praising around that we are doing very well. We are not well.
All is not well there.
Yes, these guys have finished you. First, our Minister of Foreign Affairs cannot even go to the toilet near U.S. Embassy.
Is there a reason why? Is there a reason why he can't be fired?
Now look here. The Minister of Uganda of Foreign Affairs cannot go to the toilet near the U.S. Embassy. Because the man who claims he bribed him has been locked for 7 years.
He's already serving term.
So we need to do something. We need to help. Some of us are here to help you, President Museveni, for the sake of our country. I hate sanctions. When I speak like this, some people think, oh, now I am working with Museveni. No, I've never worked with him. He has never paid me my money. The money that I had worked for, he was not the one supposed to pay. He was the European Union. But he told the conference of European Union plus African heads of state, Chisano, Riak, and others, that he will pay that money. Don't pay. Until he pays me that money is when I will stop talking about it. Every time as long as I'm alive, Mr. President, every meeting we meet where in AU, I remind you about my money. Because I worked, Konyo would have killed me. Konyo would have killed me. My children will be begging for food. And you refuse to pay me my money. But I am very happy, man, that the BBI that we did, the reconciliation, the mataput, the crossing of the egg, the reparations, the return of refugees that I did in Uganda, none of them has committed a crime against the state of Republic of Uganda.
So across the bridge, there's no more sorrows.
Across the bridge, there is no more sorrow. Across the bridge, there is no more sorrow. Let's rejoice and be united.
That's a good rendition there.
Yes,
All
good
right.
rendition.
Okay.
Thank you very much. You better be teaching me some of these things.
All right.
Nobody in Uganda, again, will pick a gun despite the shortfall of my money not being paid. You know why the opposition cannot be noticed? There is one person missing. There's one missing link who used to be on BBC, Focus on Africa. Go back and see the voice. This is the one. The only thing I've grown is the body. But the voice is still the same. Trace BBC, trace CNN, trace Sky News. This is the guy who molested Museveni with propaganda from London. This is the guy. I'm missing there because Besigye is worse. He talks like a terrorist. He says when we take power, we shall wipe up these people. That is not my language. Opposition in Uganda is not united. Opposition, I want to thank Raila Odinga again. Raila Odinga, in Kenya, you have done a very good thing. You have united the opposition. And every election, there is always a united opposition. Our country, I swear, if Museveni by bad luck is not there, it will go. You know how many people will want to be president? I don't know. So it gives me a chance to withdraw completely from such a scene. There are millions and millions of Ugandans calling upon me to help. I'm the oldest. I'm older than Besigye, by the way. The only problem Besigye has is a morphology problem now, because he was beaten too much. He changed the face. But I'm older than Besigye. I'm older than all the people there vying for opposition. Older than Mao. I'm older than this whiny dancer man.
Bobby Wine.
Yes, I'm older than all of them. Buanika, none of them beat me in age. None. I've been in a struggle from 1978. None of them understands the history of Uganda better than I do. We have changed the governments from Yusuf Lule, Binaisa, Okero, Mwanga, everybody, Basilio, up to today. So I do understand the difficulties of our country. The terrain has not reached where you can talk of some sense of balance. So why should you go to unbalance yourself? Already gerrymandered. Good English there. Gerrymandered electoral process. I leave it to God. Let's cross over to another country.
Okay, let's.
Are we running in time?
And we are doing very well on time, because we're just remaining with the Biafra, and it's bleeding, and AU is still watching, and then we'll end with Cameroon, and the agony of peace still continues.
Let's start with the agony of peace, because Akwanga, Dr. Abenaza Akwanga has just watched this program.
Is he from Ambazonia?
Yes.
Okay.
The leader of those negotiating peace in Switzerland. He has just tweeted to me and said, well, by then I will have more than 54 eyes. Africa is sick and seriously. He says, Africa is seriously sick. I know and understand the necessity for freedom as a former prisoner of conscience before I was sentenced to 20 years in prison. The man we interviewed, you remember?
Yes.
He came here. He has just sent that to me to say, David, remind the people.
All right, and while he's looking for that, the French Minister of Europe and Foreign Affairs, Jean-Yves Le Drian, has expressed his country's readiness to accompany the government of Cameroon in its ongoing efforts after the national dialogue that happened end of September. Now, life in Cameroon's two English-speaking provinces has been brought to a standstill by over 3 years of conflict, which has cost about 3,000 lives and forced over 500,000 people from their homes. The dispute had been simmering for decades, but boiled over in 2016 when teachers and lawyers started to protest against the use of French in schools and courts. And I think you were away when those
Yes.
talks were happening there, the dialogue.
Yes.
Nobody even tried to address the matter of secession there, which is what Ambazonians want.
Yeah. How do you?
And the leaders are not even present.
How do you be on an island and you fail to address how you reach the shore? We close Cameroon on that note. You can't be on an island and fail to negotiate, to organize the exit route on how you reach the hinterland, the shore. It means you remain on the island. You have not touched the island. But before we go...
You've not bothered to find ways of reaching the shores.
Exactly. One of the ways of reaching the shore, which is peace, is to give the priority to discuss Amazonian issue.
The same way the BBI must talk about the elections
Exactly.
process in Kenya.
If
The same way.
if BBI in Kenya tomorrow, when they announce and they have not talked about the bad reproach,
then we'll still be dancing around the issue.
No, the entire thing of election. If they don't give us, even we observers, something about elections.
Are you an African Union observer now?
Yeah, I think I become AU observer.
Okay.
I'm not going to be happy with them.
Until Musa leaves. But yeah, the matter in Cameroon. So they did not address the elephant in the room, but they still, Mr. Bia still hopes that a lasting peace will be found.
What lasting peace can be found in Amazonia when schools have never opened, children have never gone to school, dispensaries are destroyed, hospitals are destroyed. There is nothing in Amazonia that you can think of as anything working. And then you go to a peace dialogue in Amazonia called by the government of Amazonia, of Cameroon, a French puppet government that still pays money to the French Minister of Finance, headed by Paul Biya. They come and discuss how they will cross the island without discussing the island itself. What stupidity. What Africa are we in? Silly Africa. Silly Africa. And to that cause, one person sent me a message right now. He said, Kagame says, I would rather urge you that we need to mobilize the right mindsets, exactly, rather than more funding. After all, in Africa, we have everything we need in real terms. Whatever is lacking, we have the means to acquire. And yet, we remain mentally married to the idea that nothing can get moving without external finance. Hallelujah! Hallelujah, Kagame.
Africa is waking up.
Yeah.
We just need
and then he says, we are even begging for things we already have. That is absolutely a failure of mindset of an African. Thank you very much, comrade fighter like me. We trained in the same camp, but I don't know. He has written something very good here.
And that is what
we still go on and beg for the things.
What that we have here.
What do we have?
And that is what the ambassador...
We don't change our mindset.
The AU ambassador to the United States, that is what she had an issue with.
Yes.
How can you...
That woman from Zimbabwe.
We have everything.
She had an issue. Yes. Why do we beg what we already have? Thank you very much, President Kagame of Rwanda. We keep on climbing planes, trailer, aircraft, rocket launchers. We are everywhere. But yet, we don't change our mindset.
Our dignity.
It is like borrowing money from China, who eat lunch once, then bring money to Africa, who eat 5 courses of food in a day. I have not grown because I eat too much, no. I've grown because my body has affinity Is it good English, that one? With good weather. Not because I eat. In fact, I'm a very poor eater. The only problem is that if I'm in a good environment, inaanza kujenga.
It's at peace.
Peace.
Okay.
Yes, if you look at your 9 grandchildren running in the sitting room, now Christmas is coming. 9 grandchildren. David Matanga.
The last time we talked, there were 8, so they have
9, yes, 1 produced last month.
Okay, congratulations.
So when you look at your children with carrying babies, and they are grown up,
it's a
you
blessing.
grow fat. Yes, when you don't have any disease in your body, you grow fat.
It's a blessing.
A blessing. Yes, hallelujah. So, Mr. Faramacho, you call me fat boy kafir, but your Minister of Finance is coming with me. Your Commissioner of Police is coming with me. Mr. Commissioner of Police, when you were in London, what did you do? I'll give you the reference number, then you can know that I'm a hard worker. God bless you. Now,
Biafra.
my final topic tonight, before I go to this final topic, I have something to say and to announce here. And very shortly, I'll do it. My final topic is a very good, interesting topic, but let me do some quotes. As a schooler, I believe I leave some history for people. I've done my job, and I've done it so well. I believe one day history will not judge me harshly, but it will judge me in a very proper way. Today, I want to dedicate this to Kenyans. And I want to say that this is a man by name Charles Chaplin wrote something very interesting. And I want Miriam to take notes. He said, nothing is eternal in this world. Not even our problems. Charles Chaplin went further to say, I like to walk in the rain because no one can see my tears. Is it true? Mm-hmm. The most wasted day in life is the day we do not laugh. Mm-hmm. Is that true? Then the most important doctors, the 6 best doctors of life in the world are 1, the sun, rest, exercise, diet, self-esteem, and above all, friends like Uhuru Kenyatta.
He said friends like Uhuru Kenyatta.
Yeah, I am talking about me.
Yourself. Okay.
Friends like Uhuru Kenyatta. If you have a friend like Uhuru Kenyatta, you have a friend. Because he's a man with a sense of ability, sense of humility to tolerate this type of nonsense. Of this BBI, people saying about turn, about left, right, turn, right, turn. No, you need a president.
Mark time.
Mark time.
Right now.
So, so, therefore, the legacy of President Uhuru Kenyatta will be left in these hands. If you see the moon, therefore, you will see the beauty of God. And if you see the sun, you will see the power of God. If you see the mirror, you will see the best creation of God, which Kagame has said here. Change your mindset.
True.
Change your mindset. Why do you steal a wallet which is not yours? Why don't you do one good thing that this person is missing his credit cards? Let me, if you want the worst, take the money, but call him or her and say, I found your wallet left down there, but I've picked it. Are you the owner of this number? That person will be happy, will be saved the time going to get police abstract, what to replace these things.
All the documents.
So, but in Africa, we still ask for more. As Kagame said, we even ask for things we have. For example, we have that ability to say, but we still condemn Uhuru Kenyatta. Yeah. You go and steal. You steal all the money of the dam. Then you condemn Uhuru Kenyatta.
Murkomen has said the dams must be built there.
Murkomen, when this issue of the dam came, Senator Murkomen was the first one to condemn President Uhuru Kenyatta for having asked the DCI to arrest people. So this is what happens. But finally, Miriam, I want to tell you this. We are all tourists. God is our travel agent. Who has already fixed our itineraries, reservations, and destinations. Trust him and enjoy the life. Life is just a trip. Live today, now.
And Ogebe Mote is wondering, why are you not thanking God for a friend like Miriam? It's a joke, but thank you.
Ogembe,
for watching us.
I think you are in my mind. You didn't know how I've suffered to try to convince, even for those words to come out of my mouth. She's a great friend of mine. Very great friend. We have partnered so well with this young lady. As you see us here. Partnered so well. Delivered our package.
To Africa.
To Africa.
Yes, indeed.
And I hope one day you remember that I impacted something in your life.
Sure.
And you also impacted quite a lot in my life.
Yes.
So Ogembe Omot, don't worry. We are already on that way towards Jerusalem. Towards Jerusalem. We haven't reached Jericho yet.
Yes.
I'm told, somebody surprised me this morning. When he came to my door and said, I've been to church. I don't want to mention the name, but then I said, when I went back in my door, I said, oh, the church. I always pray inside my house. And a part of what has made me not go to church is because this church has a lot of what do we call it? Fraudulent operations. Guitars are being played. People are brought, the dancing is awkward. So you say, what is the difference between a nightclub and a church? Thank you very much. Keep the legacy. All these words, they summarize to one thing. His Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta legacy. Keep it, unity of purpose. We wait for the BBI, and we shall do a special exclusive discussion
on the content
on the content of BBI. We invite
invite
anybody who wants to join us on that day for discussion. It will be an open panel on the show. Thank you.
Okay.
God bless. Let's touch Biafra. The events in Biafra are deteriorating day and night. The killings, continue to take shape, place, without the international community talking about the problems of Biafra. For the last 2 to 3 years, we have condemned the government of President Buhari. We have made it very clear that we are hated by Buhari. We have no regrets for being hated as long as we talk the truth. Because the truth will set us free. When the truth sets us free, Africa will set us freer. We are not worried. We only need a solution for the people of Biafra. As Biafra bleeds, the AU is watching on a daily basis the killings that are taking place inside Nigeria. Nigeria wants a prosperous economy with a huge population of 200 million people. We seem to be lost in the blood that is flowing in Biafra. We therefore call upon the presidents of Africa, especially the African Union, to rise and talk about, question what can be done in Biafra to stop the killings, the murder, the human rights abuses that are being done in the Biafran name. The Biafra is a state, is a place, is a region that still has bloodshed flowing. We want this bloodshed to stop. We want to call upon President Buhari to quickly move to bring in some sanity, to accept to a referendum as the only way that can bring Biafra to the direction of international community. Thank you.
And sometimes last week, the younger brother of Nnamdi Kanu, his name is Emmanuel Kanu, he was receiving an award on behalf of his brother who cannot be in Nigeria right now. And while he was giving a speech, he said that Biafra this time will not need or require fighting another civil war. And the struggle for Biafra is a non-violent movement that has gained global momentum. Hence, we don't need to fight again to have Biafra. So what should Biafrans keep doing for them to realize this? Because the brother to Nnamdi Kanu, the younger brother Emmanuel, came out and said, there will be no need for us to pick up weapons, but they keep being killed there in Nigeria. So what would be the alternative?
That is civil way of doing it.
And maybe the best.
That is the best alternative to agitate for the freedom of the people of Biafra. But they have been killed. They are being killed. There are groups, even Obasanjo, other people like Obasanjo acknowledge that there is a problem.
Oh, he did.
And therefore, African Union should wake up and call the president to attention. This country, Nigeria, is divided into the killing fields of Boko Haram. The Boko Haram are killing people in the Maiduguri area in the north of Nigeria. In the south, the army itself has turned, and the police and the institutions of government have turned on the people of Biafra, butchering them, eating them, roasting them like a meat, carnivores. They have turned to be cannibals in the south, eating them every day. So we call upon the world to wake up. We call upon the people of Africa to see the sense of urgency, to bring sanity into this continent.
Are we still calling upon the African Union that is still led by Mr. Musa Faki? And do we hope any...
The problem of African Union is we have a lame chairperson who is on the payroll of the French. And therefore the French commandeer him to do what he's supposed to do. Otherwise, if we had very powerful people, they should have called a halt to the killings that are taking place in Nigeria. Anything else?
Anything else? Not so much, but I see a lot of our viewers here today. We've not had time to go through your comments. And Obai Clever, Dizul, you're saying you're watching us from Spain. Anayo Ezian, you're saying God bless you, sir. And Amika TJ Benny, you're saying watching from Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. Biafra, we want and nothing more. And a host of our viewers earlier there who have been writing to us, thank you so much. Wherever you're watching us from, of course, Ogebe Omot, I think you're watching us us from Germany. Guten Tag. And Giko Chukwudi, you're saying you love Punchline Africa. Thank you so much. Thank you really, really so much. So Biafrans must find another way to keep agitating the one for their own, country. And of course, these other suggestions that some people have been suggesting there in Nigeria, that having an Igbo presidency perhaps will stop, the need and the agitation for Biafra. Already it has been established that that will not bring the solution, but Biafrans will continue fighting. But Namdi Kanu's brother, the younger brother, Mr. Emmanuel Kanu, they are saying that Biafrans are no longer required to take up, arms to fight physically because, more lives will be lost. And we do not want that to happen. Already more lives have been lost, so we do not want any more to happen. But the struggle for Biafra there continues. And so Namdi Kanu has been very busy giving, I think, weekly radio interviews there just to advance the agitation for Biafra. So let's just see how this struggle will go and the non-violent struggle will go. But so far, Biafrans have not been the ones who have been taking up arms and literally fighting, the government of Nigeria. But they have been trying to create awareness across the world. We've not seen an armed struggle since that happened over 50 years ago. We've not seen an armed struggle coming from the Biafrans so far. We've seen only violence being meted by the Nigerian government towards the Biafrans.
Thank you very much. With those kind words coming from Miriam, we started the topic on top gear. Mm-hmm. We have hammered our journey. Mm-hmm. We have reached the destiny. We wait for BBI.
Yes, indeed. Anytime from tomorrow.
I think they better tell us and we dress up for the occasion. So that we can also dissect it very properly. I'm speaking like Mr. Shaka Sali of the Voice of America.
Voice of America, yes.
Thank you very much.
He's your countryman.
Yes. Is he also a soldier like me?
Oh, he's a former rebel.
Yes, he's a former, not a rebel.
A soldier.
We are former soldiers. We worked as soldiers, not rebels. Miriam.
But that is a title you wear with a lot of honor. So, former soldier, everybody. Give it up to the former soldier.
Look at what Miriam is doing to me now. Former rebel. Huh?
When you are
Stephen, can you engage Miriam to the level that tell her that I'm not a former rebel?
A former soldier. When you're fighting against, you're rebelling against what was there that you did not agree with.
And we change the events.
Into a soldier.
Thank you very much, all the people of Kenya. Thank you very much for President Uhuru Kenyatta post-birthday present of today. We have given you the light.
Yesterday was his birthday.
Yes.
How old is he now?
I don't know.
Over 50.
He's 59.
59?
About.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay.
58, I think so, yeah.
Okay, that's good.
That's 1961. Mm-hmm. Yes. Mm-hmm. That's 68.
Post-belated birthday.
But by the way, we celebrate the same bracket. Mm-hmm. I was born on 22nd October. Let me not say my age. 22nd October. Okay. Kenyatta was born 26th October. Mm-hmm. So we are more or less the same star.
Yes.
Libra.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you're Libra.
We touch, I think for him is Scorpion, but he doesn't operate like a Scorpion. Libra, we are moderate, reserved like he is. But when you touch us, we bite.
Okay, so that's a warning to all of you out there, I guess. Don't touch them. They will bite. Don't rattle the snake, it will bite.
Don't rattle! I just want today's topic, I give it to you, Mama Muna. Thank you very much for the decision you took. At least I think when you went back to your desk, you must have realized that Muna Shaman was the daughter of a prominent figure during the Somali government ICJ hearing at the ICJ. Ali Said Sadiq, the Somali ambassador to the EU headquarters who spoke to Somalia, said she has quit the Somalia team, legal team, because she has discovered the light to move ahead. She found another job. That cannot be the reason to leave this one, which is lucrative. But I told her the money that you are taking is money from mafia. You are being paid by Norway to come and kill an African country. I want to thank you, Muna Shaman. God bless you. Your career is high. Your career will grow strong. That's another blow to the Somali team at ICJ. Thank you.
All right, and on that note, we don't want to water everything else we've done. In case you just joined us, we've talked about so much today. We started with Kenya and the anxiety over the BBI report that is said to be handed over to the president and the former Prime Minister Raila Odinga. And also we looked at Somalia, destiny of mafia operations, and we looked at Zimbabwe, and Africa is standing with Zimbabwe in rejecting the sanctions that have been meted against the country. And we also looked at Biafra as it continues to bleed and African Union continues to watch. And also we looked at Cameroon, the agony of the Amazonians, and the need for peace still continues. And so we see you here tomorrow for another edition of Good Morning Africa.
Hopefully there will be BBI.
Yes.
And if BBI is there, we shall cross live towards the BBI communication system. We shall take our satellite to the BBI. To the live events. Yes, where they will be. Thank you very much. Thank you, Miriam, for cutting your Sunday afternoon, for coming here. And we look forward to very nice lunch after here, which everybody can prepare in his own or her home. All right. There's a house. I could have. There's a house. No, we are not. We'll see you tomorrow. We'll see you tomorrow. Thank you very much. Don't go away again. Always watch Punchline Africa TV. What time do we see them tomorrow? 11 a.m. 11 East African time. East African Standard Time. Adjust it to your time everywhere. Wherever you are. Like so that you can receive a notification every time. Don't forget South Sudan. Yeah, that conversation we must finish. Don't forget South Sudan. It is now very clear that Riek Machar is not coming because it was emphasized again this morning. So, let's talk about South Sudan again. Yes, we must do a dispatch. A dispatch is Tuesday, but we can adjust it. So that because it requires a lot of time. Yes. Okay. And you're having a countdown here. We're marking the dates. We are marking the dates. Machar, you better return. We want Dr. Riek Machar in Juba, but he says, hello. He wants 3,000 personal security. No, now this has shifted. Higher, what? Higher things. So they keep shifting the goalposts. There is it not the same matter on security? And to talk about that, I met all the rebels yesterday. I met, as I was entering a certain restaurant yesterday to go and have my evening. Whom do I see? All the Sudanese rebels. 5 of them. Kenya is the ones that I've been looking for. So I said, hello. They all know me. They grabbed me. So I said, thank you for, I've met you here now. If you don't tell Dr. Riek Machar to come by 12th November, do you want me to tell you the country that has drafted the resolution? They said, we have been hearing it. I said, it is bad news. Pangani Laum, and the other general, all of them, 5. Maybe they're strategizing on how to go back. No, some have gone to Juba already. They are here. I said, do it quickly. They should.
We encourage you
I saw them.
to do right by
I
South
believe
Sudan.
some other people saw them. They were there getting out in their cars. But there you are. That's what life is. That's what it is. Sudan, South Sudan, is our child. The child sick in a house does not give you a sleep in the other bedroom.
It's very true.
On that note, close it down, Miriam. Close it, my daughter.
On that note, Ogochukwu Hadrock Edoka, I think he's been writing to us. I had just had to acknowledge him. Thank you so much. So we see you here tomorrow, 11 a.m. East African time, for more news. Since Friday, a lot has been happening across Africa. So I'll be here together with Dr. Matanga. We'll bring you the latest. So make a date with us tomorrow. For now, it is bye-bye.